run.
I love that little.
Maybe Python is like a sort of wrestler as well. Anyway,
I love the portrait.
He looks a bit like he could be a wrestler.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? We've got a Doom.
Oh, that's it.
Or is that a Ranger?
That's a Doomslayer. There are a couple of skins which make me
I was questioning that. I thought it was Doom to be.
Oh, yes! I love it. This is it. We've got this scale coming out. ZenAku, he's going with the standards here. And we're going to get a slash on top of that. Another scale bearer. This is like our wet dream or something, isn't it? You get to see scale bearer versus scale bearer. That's like the absolute beast of a matchup right there.
Such a scale bearer.
I don't know if we're going to be getting sort of bull rush on bull rushes. It's a little bit premature to expect these kind of things.
So excited.
Although they can be amazing. But I'm liking the flavors that Swoop the
Yeah, I mean, and the slash coming out, which is second game of the day, first slash of the day, but it's still quite unusual to see slash in duel, although it is obviously very prominent in sacrifice. Not many people have perfected it yet, so I'm very keen to see what Python's got for us.
Can be effective, but it's very rare instances so far. It's very much.
I mean, even
how good are you at?
Yeah, I mean, even top,
as
we've seen, probably the best slash in sacrifice, doesn't always employ it in duel because still working out how to best utilize it. Same with Cypher, used it for a bit, then went away. So I'm keen. I think it can be very strong, but it's very player dependent at the same time.
I am genuinely curious about the whole scale bearer thing and to see how they're going to be utilizing him in this, because it's not a normal pick. But we'll get into the game right now. Loser bracket quarters between scale bearer and Python.
He's knocked him off.
Oh, that's going to hurt a little bit, but he's eventually going to break away using that plasma trail.
Yeah, it's one of the very It's one of the very strong things about the plasma trail is that you can block off your exits, and so if you're in trouble or if you want to isolate an item, utilizing that makes it either very painful or death if you want to chase.
And what they changed in the last patch, of course, is now you can move any direction when you're using the plasma trail. It used to be so that it was only sort of forward-facing, and just a casual bull rush to get around the corner.
It was utilized to get off of the platform free of damage.
I'm all right with that. Also, avoided all fall damage, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, thanks for the...
It's all right. Anytime.
You're a fountain of knowledge sometimes.
I hope the sweep the legs isn't a name that Python's going to keep as one thing. If anyone gets confused why I'm saying Python, just know that it's sweep the legs in case anyone's not aware of it. This is a lot of damage already, and ZenAku just melts him with the rockets. That was nicely played by him actually, and I'm gonna switch over and see what he's gonna be able to do. We've got Doomstone. If he can take down Doom, here we go.
Whoa! Jumping over the bull rush. That's a new one.
That's it. Well, got that double jump. It's certainly going to be one of the key defensive factors if you're going up versus him. Just hope that there's a high enough ceiling.
But this again is the power of these tanky champions. Is look, if you get that stack, it's so hard to knock them off it, and it's particularly with a bull rush when you can close the gap so easily and do damage when you're doing it. So you get them opposite.
Wow, he's actually going into this to jump. I think he might have hit him a little bit as well. That is going to be a frag.
That's exactly what I was just talking about though. When you have that ability to close the gap so quickly, it's almost like the old school clutch when you can fly in. The cooldown is so low that ZenAku is showing many people that Scale Bearer is valid in duel.
So, how excited are you on a scale of right now?
Oh, what a
one to, I don't know, close off of seeing Scale Bearer versus Scale Bearer?
It's in close off territory.
Okay, I see. Same here.
Particularly because we have... Yes. I don't want you to though.
Okay. Well, unfortunately for Python, he's so weak at the moment. He misses out on the bull rush. Fortunately, though, for him, Python was so weak on the health that he's going to be able to finish him off with a lightning gun. But ZenAku almost died in that scenario.
But he didn't. And we saw this clean sweep with the Scale Bearer.
Round begins.
That's actually a really good point. Scale Bearer now. OP.
Round two.
All he got is a 25 health, armor boost, I believe.
It's huge though, because that obviously is cumulative when you get the larger one as well. So
yeah. A lot of people look at those kind of sort of buffs and try to say, oh, it's only 25 health, it's only 25 armor, but it is fairly significant.
It was 25, so it's basically, it was like, what, 33% buff overall to his armor stack?
Yeah.
So when you look at it in that aspect, it's pretty big. It's like saying, yeah.
There's gives him a little more to work with, at least. He's got rails to watch out for, and he somehow was getting a dodge out quite nicely for a moment. But, you know, if it's Infro, don't fix it, so obviously he's not going to be switching away from Scale Bearer starting champion anytime soon. And I think there is Python just poking his head out a little bit with Doomslayer.
And seeing in another side to ZenAku's game here, previously had the stack advantage pretty much from second one and was able to charge around the map at will, but this time playing defensive, which is
Oh, I like that.
that's a very nice way to use the bull rush as well.
I kind of like how he ended it as well, just trying to dodge around the corner a little bit in case there was any other damage coming out. Just small details, but obviously you don't have to be offensive every time you use an ability. Sometimes just using it for the mobility is going to be good enough.
And the other point of note in this particular round is we've seen Python switch up his starting pick to the Doomslayer, obviously wanting to try and match up on the stack aspect as much as anything.
There was a slash before, he found it didn't work. Oh my god, they got a direct rocket just then. And that is going to send Python into the corners of the map, while ZenAku is now going to be bringing him a massive stack at the moment.
But at the same time, it does appear that Sweep the Legs has somewhat recognized the power of ZenAku's bull rushing and is keeping much more at bay. And the other point is you see him trying to almost be at split levels a lot of the time, so that you can't just bull rush up to them.
Yeah.
So it makes the Scale Bearer's life far more difficult when that's the case. You want to hit those rails at split levels.
Problem for Sweep the Legs though is he doesn't really seem to be finding any of that extra damage. He does a sort of little jump on top, but the damage from ZenAku was more than fine. And Sweep the Legs probably he was playing well the way that he was managing the levels, as you're saying, but he kind of didn't persist.
It was one of the situations where you're not making anything happen, and you think I have to take a risk here. But, I think I would have preferred it to been on the red instead of the mega, because on the mega you can see what happens. You can get bull rushed and you get closed into a corridor, or at least on the red you can probably jump out of it whenever you want.
Oh wow, he actually hits the, oh my god, and the rocket to follow up. The rocket was wonderful there.
Celebratory pummel.
The work at the moment that ZenAku is doing with the Scale Bearer is unbelievable.
Got our matchup back.
That's it. And still waiting for his bull rush to come back off cooldown and to maybe get some more work done with it. But definitely, I'm surprised we haven't seen a bit more yet from Sweep the Legs. He's definitely someone who I would say too high expectations, but you know, there's a certain standard I'm expecting from Python. It's not yet brought.
You're disappointed.
I am, yeah.
You're not upset, you're just disappointed.
Just want to be slightly diplomatic with how I brought that out. And we're doing parkour with Sweep the Legs, his bull rush around the map. He avoids any kind of damage, which I guess is, I mean, he didn't make it a bad thing at least, but he's just got the ability on cooldown now. On LG, I think the damage started a bit more on Sweep the Legs. Armor will be taken, and he's put himself in a little bit of a corner. Sweep the Legs maybe could have brought a little bit more at the end with a rail, but we have got the bull rush. Oh my god.
Splat.
We got a Scale Bearer on a 6 frag streak at the moment.
You can move much quicker now when you're rushing, can't you? I think.
In terms of turning a little bit, maybe a tiny bit as compared to like much earlier versions.
It's more like a minivan than a truck now.
But we're like a minivan with like spikes at the front.
Yes, like Grand Theft Auto style or something.
Well, I wonder if the 9 frag streak, the full, I don't know, can we call it an ace in Quake Champions, or is there like some kind of sort of term we can use for a full?
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
We need something for this. I think the other one is under a bit of pressure.
We got murked.
And look, so Sweep the Legs has tried slash. Well, we need to refine this a bit. Sweep the Legs started. Oh my god, he went for a little bull rush. Oh, but Sweep the Legs takes him down. And what it took is for him to start with Scale Bearer, not Slash that he tried in the first round, not Doomslayer he tried in the second, but Scale Bearer. So right now, if things aren't working for you, just start with Scale Bearer.
Just pick Scale Bearer.
That's it. As soon enough, we'll get our message across to the whole world.
I've been praising Scale Bearer since day one. It's only taken like 6 months, but
that's all right. It's fine. Work takes time like this. Already had a couple of jitters going on between these two players, but eventually ZenAku is going to be buying himself an advantage.
And ZenAku apologizes.
Wholesome apology just there, but secretly deep down he's like, I got back to the scale bearer. Exactly. The main problem. Oh,
wow, nice
damage. He had forced the injection out completely there. He has gone up to the armor behind him, but I think right now his main concern will be health.
Yeah, and again, like, we talked about at the very start of the game, but the Plasma Trail is one of those abilities that's massively underrated, and you saw right there the damage of just strafing through it for even 1 or 2 ticks, and it basically owns you. So,
especially that explosion at the end for it as well, which can just be absolutely catastrophic. Yeah. They're going against it. Mega's up.
And using it again, predicting exactly where ZenAku was going, coming out the telly has no choice but run through the Plasma Trail. That's something Tox kind of, I want to say formalized, but really began doing quite a lot with.
You got ZenAku getting rid of that slash in good time. He's just got one more champion in his way of getting this first map quite comfortably.
Yeah, and it has been very comfortable, as you say. I've been impressed with ZenAku's play, particularly the scale bearer.
Yeah, I know even though ZenAku went to QuakeCon, I didn't really get a chance to see any of his games there. So it's nice now to put the spotlight on him a bit, see what he's made of.
Exactly, and he's shown a great mix of patience and aggression and understanding of the kind of rhythm of the duel. So where he needs to be, when he can push, etc. And that's a really great quality to have.
Right now, he just does not lose patience. You know, be careful. I think when we were watching Stige Astro Boy, we saw a little bit like if you kill 2 champions, you kind of go in deep and hard to get that last frag. But ZenAku seems very calculated. He has made an aggressive move, but he gets the initial damage as well, secures the frag, and managed to make himself 3-0 in map 1. So wonderful effort from him just then, and I think we can kind of see Python lacking a little bit.
Yeah, as we said, only 1 frag across all 3 rounds.
Just the one frag that he got was Scale Bearer.
Exactly.
On Scale Bearer. It wasn't, not enough yet that we've seen from Python. We know he's like a kind of sort of a free spirit as a player.
Just even though it is the final round stats,
he can do more.
1 mega health to 5, 2 red armors to 3 heavies. He just wasn't imposing himself on the map enough, and that was the map he got the frag on. So you would expect to have slightly greater control, even still. So yeah, I mean, it's just something to think back and he just wasn't getting on any items. The items he was committing to were not safe.
Yeah. I think we saw him sometimes trying to pretend that he was going for an item, try and bait out some damage or some like exposure for ZenAku, but it didn't really work out in the end. I think we just saw some really stable gameplay as well.
I think that's the
doing
key.
Fundamentals really well.
ZenAku was always in the right place, so in between item timings, he was taking strong positions to make sure that Python wasn't able to get on them and securing them, so really cleaning out the outskirts. But at the same time, you can't just let your opponent get them for free. So instead of committing to the items, he needs to take alternative routes and try and hit rails when ZenAku's picking them up. That was kind of he was missing out on that part.
Yeah. By the way, my guess for the next map is that it's going to be Blood Covenant.
Oh my god. Yes.
So here it is. My honest guess.
I wonder why I will agree with you on that.
Really? Do you agree? You don't want to guess anything else? Why would?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Blood Covenant.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No one told me about it.
100%.
And oh look, it's Blood Covenant. Would you believe it?
No.
I see. I mean, people doubt me and my expertise and my knowledge, but actually,
I doubt your integrity right now.
but actually, I'm a man of supreme power and future prediction. So.
Okay.
But well, really, we are getting Blood Covenant. It's a map picked by sweepthelegs or Python, and he may be going to have a chance to buy himself a small advantage moving into this map because it does play very differently.
It does. And this is a much more open map, which you cannot lock down as easily as on the obviously the Blood runs of this world, which is one of those control heavy maps. So I definitely would give Python a better chance here, but the way ZenAku was playing. I also doubt we'll even see a Scale Bearer on this, but I might be wrong.
Well, we've got a Ranger, which is already...
Ranger's exceptionally good on this map.
Yeah, Ranger works well here. We have got a Nyx pick by sweepthelegs and a Slash. We're getting 2 small champions by him, and we're going to get a Slash as well from ZenAku. So he kind of keeps his little sort of core Sorlag and Anarchy.
Yeah,
and then he kind of spreads out.
I'm upset we haven't got Scale Bearer, but it's completely understandable.
Why is Scale Bearer weaker on this map?
Because it is... so open that it makes the slower, tankier champion slightly harder to play, and there's so many different levels, as we said, that Python was trying to abuse the fact that Bloodrun has a few. And Scalebear really excels in kind of, as we say, uniform levels, tight corridors where he can really push through, and this is just the complete opposite of that.
Do you think we're going to see one extreme to the other from Python, and that he's going to be able to remarkably bring us back into a tiebreaker game? I can't say my heart's with that at the moment. I'd love to see him do something great, but at the moment he hasn't delivered enough on that one for me to think that all of a sudden he's going to transform into some.
I also
mega
prefer
monster.
ZenAku's picks on this map, even though Sorlag is weaker in this current patch. She's still very, very strong, and also the Anarchy, I think, is one of those champions. If you can play it well, it's just so valuable. And I didn't really think the Slash did much, and again, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out as we are moving right now into the second map between ZenAku and sweepthelegs. And of course, if ZenAku does win this map, then he'll send himself into the loser bracket semi-finals. Right at the beginning, we're going to be getting a fight from Python. Not got much health to play with, and maybe best if he just plays away from this area and starts to pick up some resources. Got to watch out. Pressure was on for a moment.
Thought that was rail for a second, just a clip. Machine gun or lightning gun. The one thing I have been impressed with, and it is definitely the movement on the Slash, sweepthelegs. Very comfortable, and it's quite refreshing to watch around the map so smoothly.
I find it always just awesome watching stuff. I don't even need to be watching him play a duel or anything. I've always been a big fan of watching someone good with that movement.
This is nice from both. ZenAku recognizing when his place is not there, but also Python taking initiative, pushing him for a rail. He'd probably stick around to hit one more.
I think he tried there, but wasn't able to deliver. And he even left the armor up
Yeah, that's
during
what I
that
mean.
period.
Recognizing exactly when ZenAku was retreating and capitalizing on that. It also splits the items, which means now he could have pretty sound control for the next minute or two.
Well, let's see. He's got 5 seconds now till Mega's up. He's going to float on over there, and he wants to take it quickly because he's going to be given ample time to move across. And having dropped down from the pillars, you should get a lot of crouch sliding time on there. A bit of damage. Oh, the follow-up. That should be a frag. The injection's been used.
Could just push in here if he has
Machine gun. Any amount of machine gun. There we go. He had about 2 health left, and we're getting sweepthelegs with that first frag on Blood Covenant. This is already an improvement from what we got on Blood Run.
And this time we are definitely seeing the power of the Slash and utilizing the speed to get around the map so quickly that even an Anarchy is in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Slash versus Slash at the moment, but we have got a stack strength for sweepthelegs. Armor is up. It looked like for a fraction of a second he considered going back in, but just swerving around and picking up the item nicely. Trying to search for a rail pillar, getting in his way. That Mega will be up shortly. Almost considering just pushing right up forward and trying to push out of that room so he can take the item a little bit.
Ouch. That was nice.
This is still all right though for sweepthelegs because there's 5 seconds till the armor, and he's going to try and buy some space. The plasma trail was used, which might block a little bit of space moving onto the bridge. I think that's not too badly played by ZenAku, getting himself that item. He's got a 100 armor advantage over sweepthelegs now.
Yep, and it's pretty much the first item that ZenAku has got onto, and sweepthelegs playing exceptionally well here, picking up the item, moving into positions to deal damage, and that was one of the things, as we said, on Blood Run he wasn't doing as effectively. He was keeping a little bit at range when he needs to and just picking off ZenAku. Even if you don't hit, it's worthwhile trying to take those positions before you hit. They make a big impact.
Well, he's completely playing himself off the items now. He's moved away from going to the armor. He let ZenAku get that completely for free. I don't know if he's kind of timing by feel or if he's deliberately, and that's gone wrong, and he's deliberately now decided to just avoid items and play the clock instead because he's got that advantage. He's missed 2 rotations now of items.
Yeah, it's definitely the former, and because he's getting to the items just late, so it's mistiming, if anything.
But it was really good timing for him, but he's walked into so much of it as well. Plus LG damage, plus everything equals pretty Gory death.
One of the downfalls, I guess, of that type of movement is if you get out of control, you're just a bit stuck.
Oh my god.
Wow.
It's the rocket right on the lip of the ledge.
Quick turnaround in.
And it's just, I think sweepthelegs kind of disappointed because his strategy did look like, even though he was off the items, it was getting to that point in the game where you can start playing defensively and, you know,
But yeah, as we
totally
talked
play
about,
away from the items.
exactly. But as we talked about on the blood run, even there's a difference between being defensive and being passive. So in being defensive, you're trying to take strong positions, even though you're not committing to items, but you're doing damage to keep your opponent at bay, and you're taking positions where if they want to push,
Prepare to
then
fight.
they're gonna be in trouble because they're gonna be eating at least the first rocket.
Round begins
Whereas being
in
passive is just
3,
pretty much being off the map, and that's a
1.
dangerous position to be in
Round
because
2.
you're
Fight.
never 100% sure where your opponent is. You're never blocking the choke points where they want to push, and they're always going to have a stack to challenge you.
And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
He started losing.
So, I mean, when you are starting out and trying to learn the basics of duel, you have to recognize that hiding and just being passive is not the same as being defensive.
Yeah. Took a lot of damage right at the end. I think that was the nail gun. Just checking in case there's any pummel work that can be done if Python decides to push through the teleporter. But they're eventually going to break away, and it looks like ZenAku will get himself the Mega. And Python the heavy armor. Still rockets required from ZenAku. But otherwise should be able to defend himself without too many issues. The little rail on the side won't get it. And a bit of pressure going up the bounce pad over there from Python. Does slip away and realise that maybe it was slightly a suicidal attempt at aggression.
Ooh, a bit annoyed that he missed that rail, but doesn't matter. Falls back to take the items. Could even now, because Python's here, yep, could even probably get onto the Mega.
He can make a play at it. It reminds me of what Python did earlier when he played away from the heavy to try and put some pressure on, which he was successful at doing because he landed a rail and made something work for him. But on this occasion, it was a risk going back to that Mega.
Yeah,
Made it work, but now the items are 5 seconds apart from each other. I guess he has still got the overstack a little bit, which ZenAku doesn't have anymore.
He's also now used his injection, so that also gives him a window if he wants to push. That ZenAku is going to be in trouble because he can't reliably commit to fight.
Mega was taken fairly soon, just then. But it looks like they're playing very carefully against each other now, following up from the first one, which was pretty quick.
Yeah, respect coming out. This is the way ZenAku doesn't mind playing, but now has been missing a little bit more respect coming out. Sweep the legs, so that's fine with me. But again, at some point, you need to make plays. And this has been the downfall at the end of the day for Sweep the legs, being far too defensive or too passive, should I say?
Yeah. I think if he is only timing off field, that's the sort of danger you have there. But it's not 100% reliable.
No, and I mean, we can't say that definitively, but it does feel that way because there has been multiple times where he's been off the map when he should be in a stronger position to challenge for items.
Oh, the LG here from ZenAku does a good job with it.
That was another one of those positions in that he was 3 or 4 seconds too early and out of position, whereas ZenAku was able to take advantage of that.
Whoa, okay, a rail landed. One more wouldn't quite kill ZenAku, but he lands a direct rocket instead, which would kill him. And sweepthelegs gets himself a first frag advantage on the second round. So it's the second time he's got the first frag advantage, but it didn't work for him last time. He needs to make it work for himself this time. But it's the Solag as the second pick now instead of the Slash.
Interesting, yeah, he has mixed that up.
All that LG damage. Sweepthelegs want to be still very careful at the moment. Just get a spike of damage just then. And there's not going to be much in the game apart from just that extra knowledge and keeping up with where his opponent is.
Yeah, this is fine. I mean, he's in the lead. There's a minute and a half left.
Oh.
Can't really afford to let the Solag get onto an item and he's given away a free red for some reason. And this again comes back to the problem in that it's just these mistimings because he has let ZenAku back into the game for the final minute unnecessarily.
Surely you just hang around for a rail or something, you know, try even if you don't hit anything, just watch him pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. So we will see what ZenAku can make of that, but it is a huge lifeline.
Yeah. Fortunately for Python, he's managed to take the Mega unchallenged. And right now, with 45 seconds to go, he's thinking, how can I kill the second more comfortably? Bit of LG damage. So the legs missing out on his jumps a bit. It shouldn't cost him too much, but he's going to be very cautious at the moment. I'm going to switch over to ZenAku, where he's got 30 seconds to try bring it back in this round. Slightly cornered for a moment, but he's got to watch out for that plasma trail. I think that's a great use of the plasma trail.
One of the weaknesses of the Slag. Oh, unless that happens, I was about to say, is that you can't catch Slash unless she runs into you.
Well, that leads me to think, why did Slash come back in? Went to the small armor back towards the lightning gun where ZenAku was. And you could have just rushed up to the heavy and made some moves around.
Yeah, I think because ZenAku took so much damage from the plasma trail, he thought he ran through the doorway. Because that was where the plasma trail was pretty much laid.
Yeah.
And so he thought, okay, I'll double back.
It was close to being a good move, but in the end it looked like he kind of just brought himself to his own death.
I think, yeah, the safer option, irrespective of that, as you say, is just to go up to the heavy, because either way you're still getting away.
But if it worked for him, then I mean, ZenAku would have been completely lost almost.
Yeah, exactly. C'est la vie.
Yeah, but we are in sudden death between these two, and sweepthelegs is using the Ranger. He's going to have some alright mobility and a bit of stack that he could ultimately work with, but he's got to find some long-range damage, and that direct rocket, that's going to trigger a reaction here from ZenAku, and he's going to, I am in the lead, and if I hit this rail, then I send myself well into the lead on this series.
If there's been a glaring weakness for me in ZenAku's game, it's been the rails. There's been multiple times he's missed clutch rails and easy rails. So if that's something that he can kind of correct in his game, we can definitely see him challenging for one of the top spots in the ANZ region.
I see. Well, 2-0, one more. Of course, we're in the lower bracket. So if sweepthelegs loses this round, then we've got to say goodbye to him in this qualifier. And then ZenAku will give himself another chance in the following round. Got the anarchy to begin with at the moment. Kind of seeing it now from his perspective going versus the legs Slash.
Slash has been good. Maybe would have liked to see him, doesn't matter now, but mix up the initial pick. Like I'm definitely a fan of the Ranger to start with. I think that the utility that offers you is very strong on this map, but we're going to see it now anyway.
I want some dial frags as well. Oh, he comes through. He tries to do some damage, but the rail, we have got the neutral frag in the end. So we'll catch up with sweepthelegs as he's got his next pick. But it's the last champion he has possibly off the tournament for him.
Nearly saw that. Nearly saw the dial frag perforation. Is that what you call it?
I mean, I guess so. I think we're still playing with an official name, but it's like a telefrag kind of thing we go with, I guess, in some sense.
I'll take that.
Yeah, but this is now pretty hard work for Python. Obviously, he would have loved it if that rail didn't come through at all, but we could see that ZenAku was really lining up that shot while Python was in the air. And he's not going to go reaching down out of the lightning gun area. That would be completely suicidal. But, or one rail. To find another one, that would have been a big deal for him. He's going to get the armor. No rocket jump up. He wants to preserve some of that stack that he's got, even though it's ticking down quite rapidly. He just moves straight in. He doesn't even go walk immediately. One rail. Oh, one more, but it comes out from ZenAku, and that's going to be it. Python took the gamble and thought that maybe, just maybe, he could dodge away from it and fight himself to another chance into another round, but it didn't work, and ultimately, he's got pretty smashed in that series.
He did. I mean, you are a bit of a Python fanboy.
A fanboy.
Python fanboy.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
I mean, like my real sort of concise and detailed analysis is that he played worse than ZenAku.
He didn't hit as much.
No.
He didn't take as many
But
items.
on a serious level, yeah, his item play was kind of poor.
It was very poor.
He was definitely not, you know, playing for them as, you know, in any way as much. He more liked to play away from them to try and do some extra aggression. As soon as he got control of an item, it was like, well, I'm going to play off that, mess with the timings a bit, try and work that as some kind of aggression to do something and, you know, maybe make the items work into my way for the following rotations. But he would never be consistent in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if, you know, the thing you have when you say you have to deal timing by feel, you can also give the excuse that you weren't timing because it's just by feel. You're just kind of, I don't know, whatever. And I say it myself as well.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is that ZenAku played the basics of the duel far more effectively than Python did. They both hit a relatively even amount of shots, but ZenAku was always in the better positions and had a greater stack and chose his situations more wisely.
So we will have another game coming up in just a moment. I believe we're keeping an eye on ZenAku, and he's going to be going up versus Phrase actually. So, good buddy from down in that region. They also share spots in the same team. Down in Australia, so I'm sure these guys are also going to be very, very familiar with their play styles. And I think Phrase definitely a name that a lot of Europeans are going to be very familiar with, as he's been quite present at a lot of the international events, even moving back into the Quake Live era. So should be interesting to see what we get up next. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.